All yours, John.
Oh. No. Please, you.
No, I think you should start.
No. After you.
That's all yours. It's your podcast.
My name isn't anywhere on this
Hello
podcast.
and welcome to the Trip Lunch Podcast.
Yes.
Hello, welcome to the Trip Lunch Podcast. It is exciting to have you here. I am joined by Joel, who is excellent. Hello, Joel. And Bethany.
Hello.
Who is delightful.
Who is delightful.
Yes.
She is delightful.
I've been looking forward to this one.
I'm very excited.
We've had this planned for a while, haven't we?
Yes.
And you had an early finish today.
Yes, I did.
What time did you finish school?
10 o'clock.
Why did you even bother going? That's what I don't understand.
Because I had maths and SOR.
What's SOR?
Studies of
religion.
Oh,
They're two
sorry.
of my top faves.
Top faves.
Actually, no, I love them all. But like,
Top
I
five.
was, yeah.
Top 5 of all subjects, even though you're probably only doing like 6 or 7.
I do the bare minimum. I do 10 units.
Oh, 10 units, yeah. But how many?
Which is that? 6?
Is that 6? 6 classes? 6 subjects?
Yeah, 5.
5. Yeah, 5 because it's 2.
Yeah.
No extension, then obviously.
No, so
extension
SOR's
class.
1 unit, the maths is 3. So like,
I see. Well,
average is 2 each, yeah.
Look at you.
Religion only does 1 unit, doesn't it?
Well, if you do one more unit, then you do Buddhism. So I'm content with just Christianity and Islam.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. Cool. So you've told us before you go to
We haven't done this in a while.
Start again. So where is school? So you went.
I was really
You have
proud
to go
about
a
that.
reasonable way to school.
Yes,
like it's
I do.
not. It's not close.
actually,
not
the-
heaps close to home, but
It's not a
20
trek.
minutes away.
but if but if only till 10 o'clock. What time does school start?
8:15.
So you're there for an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I stayed for recess and a booket on The Little Mermaid today.
A what?
A booket.
What's that?
It's like a more chaotic Kahoot.
Oh.
You sort of do it at your own speed. So if you're like speedy at the questions, like you're in an advantage there. So you like do. So you got a question, 4 options.
Yep.
You do it, and if you get it right, you get to pick from. There's different games. We always do this like strange like treasure chest one. Is it treasure chest? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you click one, and it gives you gold. Or otherwise, you can steal gold. Or otherwise, it multiplies your gold. Or otherwise, it detracts from your gold.
That's very exciting.
It's intense. It's wonderful.
And that was at recess.
That was in year meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, bonding time.
Okay. What was the quiz on? Little Mermaid.
Yeah, because that's the musical song.
The musical is on The Little Mermaid.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
Yes. It's very
The
exciting.
remake of the movie is out now too, isn't it?
I don't know if it's out, but
I've
a
seen the trailer.
dropped the other
Oh.
day.
And the
A new
terrifying
trailer.
crab.
The crab looks terrifying.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So
apparently
maybe it
the
isn't out
fish is-
yet, but
The problem is, it's like they're making a live action movie about creatures that look weird. Like fish are weird looking, crabs are weird looking. Like you're not gonna make them not scary.
The crab is really weird looking.
The crab is really weird looking.
I'm gonna.
I used to like Sebastian.
Heck, you're gonna put it on the screen over my face.
Yeah, it's just got the old mermaid.
Look up new crab. New
New
Sebastian.
crab. Yeah.
Its dimensions are really weird as well. Like it's a lot wider than Sebastian ever was.
There's a lot of. I don't think we need all of this.
I feel like there's extra legs.
Edit.
It's still small. I thought you were saying it's going to be like massive, but
What, the
it's
crab? No. It's just a crab, but it's
A scary crab.
it's not friendly like Sebastian. Is that what you mean?
Just looks like a crab.
Like a real crab?
Looks like a real crab.
Well, it's a live action.
Yeah, but crabs are terrifying. Crabs are not
And crabs that
usually.
look like that
they're not
shouldn't speak
They're not
either.
normally cute.
Are they
And yeah, you're right. They
terrifying, though?
shouldn't look like they can speak.
Do you really think they're terrifying? Like
They're not terrifying, but
sometimes
but they're not cute things.
when they move, like they move similar to spiders, and that's one of the reasons I really don't like spiders is the way they move.
I like spiders.
I like spiders a lot.
But I don't like spiders with babies. I think that's too many things to handle.
I agree with that
Because
statement.
there's like 16 legs.
No, because there's like
No, because it's like
there's
40,000.
there's
And,
Right.
and they all
thousands.
come out of a central point in the black.
Yeah. And then have you seen those videos where they like trying to kill a spider, and they kill the
There's a
spider, and all the
pregnant
babies
one.
come out, and it's like, oh no. Yeah,
No,
that's
I
not
don't
okay.
wanna
That's
see those
like
videos,
that
thank
would
you.
terrify. I'm very okay with spiders, but that is
Because when it's
a nightmare.
one speedy thing to manage, that's just fine.
fine.
But
That's fine.
40,000 many things to manage.
Terrifying. Terrifying. What is scarier? One spider-sized spider or 40,000 slightly smaller spider-sized
A
spiders?
spider-sized spider, I think.
Yeah.
I just don't like spiders. I just don't like that they move weird. They don't move like anything else.
Anyway, we haven't been able to find this photo.
Yes.
I don't know why.
I don't know. I think people are too
I wrote
afraid of it.
Little Mermaid, New Sebastian.
And look up live action.
Do you eat chips?
The way we
Bethany?
usually start this, we're in the seafood perspective, but there it is.
Oh, there, this one.
Isn't it terrifying?
No, I don't. Yeah, maybe.
That's fan art.
No, go back up. I think it's literally just the crab. Oh no, that's a real crab. Oh, I don't know. I don't know now.
Get your eyes checked.
I think we'll have to watch the.
Well, there's a guy playing Sebastian in the musical.
He's dressed up
as you said,
as a crab.
Sorry, do you prefer Beth or Bethany?
Either or. I don't
Okay,
really
I'll go with Beth because it's just shorter. Thank you.
It's quite passively aggressively written there. I didn't realise how confronting my handwriting was.
You would call that passive aggressive on the backboard here?
I would say that's straight up aggressive. It's all capital letters.
I feel like it's just like
That's great.
part of your personality.
Assertive,
Oh, absolutely.
asserting
Bold and
dominance.
assertive, absolutely.
Bold and assertive.
Okay, let's actually do the podcast.
Yes.
Do you eat chips?
So, but yeah, Bethany, how do you? The first question we like to ask is, how do you like your chips?
Okay, so I really like, if they're like small and stringy, I'm not for that. But if they're
So
like
not a French fry. Is that what we're saying?
no.
Okay,
like
keep going.
a good like
Solid
wedge
Solid.
with like
wedge.
with rosemary and sea salt.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
rosemary
that's
addition.
really good.
Yeah, because rosemary goes really well with
So
potatoes.
sophisticated.
Or otherwise, the little happy face potatoes. I did a
Oh, those things.
yeah.
What are
I
they
gave it to
called?
the Fuse kids when I was doing a presentation
smileys.
on the Irish potato famine. It was very informative, and then we had potato tasting at the end. They all ate happy face potatoes.
That is the best.
And they're really yummy.
They're actually delicious. It's a good time. And you know what? I think that counts as a chip, and I think they should have their own column.
Yep.
There's the chicken
They've
salt,
got
plain
personality.
salt, and then happy, smiley potato smiles.
No, don't pander to the guess.
I'm not. I think potato
That's what it
smiles are
sounds like you're
legit.
doing.
I think they're great.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a separate category.
I think it is a separate category. I think it should be.
Well, then do you add potato gems in that category then?
No, because they're not the same thing.
They
don't
call
have
them
happy
emoti
faces.
bites now. McCain.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Because apparently they took them out as a product, and then McCain brought them back.
They disappeared 5 years.
This is from
ago.
2020. This article.
Oh my goodness.
I bought them like 2 weeks
Scandal.
ago.
Well,
That's
no,
what I'm
they're back
saying.
now.
Like they've brought them back now.
But now they're emoji.
But they took them away
Smileys.
prior to
I must
2020.
have had like 5-year-old potatoes I gave these kids.
No, they're back now.
They're all
back now.
frozen. What do you expect? What do you?
They weren't called emoji potatoes.
No, emoji bites. They're
Emoji
called.
bites.
No, so what I'm saying is before 2020 they discontinued them.
Yep.
And brought them back in 2020.
So
So you
chaotic.
didn't give the children 15-year-old emoji bites.
You gave them.
I'm so glad.
You got them fresh out of the freezer.
Fresh out of the freezer.
Wonderful.
Fresh out of the freezer. Okay, so wedges with like nice spices or emoji bites.
Yeah.
You're causing rosemary a spice?
I call it a herb
it's a
personally.
herb. I don't know. I actually, you know what? I'm sorry. I forgot what you said.
So you weren't listening.
I was way more focused on the emoji bites.
Oh.
That's very
Some
loud.
music just got put on. Very good.
Beth,
Yes.
how did you become a Christian?
It's
Well,
can I just before we
Yes.
just
We
before-
know it's a herb.
the rosemary is a shrub with
Ah.
a fragrant evergreen needle-like leaves and white, pink, purple, or blue flowers.
I love the word shrub.
Yes, shrubbery.
Very nice.
Find me.
But
a
it's not a.
shrubbery.
I think we've established, Ethan, that it's not a spice.
You must cut down the tallest tree in the forest with a herring.
Do you know where that's from?
Because Monty Python. There's the knights who say
There
knee.
we go. You know what you're looking up on YouTube.
Yeah, just look up that scene
Yeah.
and it's it's great.
Wonderful.
It's a good time.
Beth, let's go back to the question. I'll
Yes.
ask it. 'Cause, Ethan distracted us.
Rude.
How did
I
you
want
become a
Braden
Christian?
Okay. So, I grew up in a Christian family. I went to Sunday school. It's not like the Bible is anything that I sort of came across myself. It was something that I learnt from a very young age. So I think for a very long time in primary school and like early high school, for me, Christianity was just like knowing things. So knowing those stories, having those Sunday school answers like ready to whip out and like, show people. It's like, yeah, I'm so cool. So
I know this.
yeah. So I think that that's what a lot of Christianity was for me for a very long time. And that's my understanding of what it was. It was never a relationship. It was just knowledge and facts. But then I think that when I came into high school and I was at a Christian school, being surrounded by so many Christian teachers and older Christians through like Christian lunchtime groups and the camps that we'd go on together, I saw from them that it's not just a knowledge thing, it's something that changed your heart and the way that you live and the way that you love other people, interact with other people. And so it took a long time sort of from then to change from that head knowledge into that sort of like heart knowledge. But I think it was probably later high school years where it's sort of things become a bit more challenging, life becomes a lot more chaotic.
Yes.
And I don't think that I'd sort of have survived it, saying if I didn't have a rock, like something like Jesus. So I think particularly with friends and things, like you're really challenged when you are getting older into later years of high school. You're thinking about what you personally believe, what your morals are, where they lie, and who you are. And for me, people knew me as a Christian because I was always up there in chapel. I knew the answers in Christian studies and in SOR. I always knew and I was I'd like to think I was a pretty nice person too. So I guess people associated that with my faith, and that was me being a Christian because I'd grown up in a Christian environment where I knew that this is how you loved other people. This is Jesus' example that I'm meant to follow. But it took me a while to really understand becoming a Christian is it's a relationship, and it's where you realize that you really can't do it alone. I think it took a lot of things in high school for me where I really tried to do things on my own, and I failed, and things, yeah. So particularly in my later years of high school, I think that, like Stu was talking about in the sermon on the weekend, I was really stuck with holding on to, what I was holding on to and what I was really clinging to, as what.
You like making
so for context for everyone listening online,
yes.
Yes.
Stu was really helpful on the weekend for us, and it was actually a really great sermon analogy. He told a story that I personally have very deep, it holds a very close spot in my heart. It's about his mum, my grandma. They were first time they'd gone out boating together, and boating. Oh, they got a tinny. They went on a boat. They went out on a boat, and grandma was freaking out because she thought the boys were going to float away. Boys being my dad and his little brother when dad was about 8, and they're on the boat and grandma's on the dock, and the boat starts floating away, and or the other way around, and she like leans over and like hangs onto the boat and the dock at the same time, but the boat doesn't stop fading away, and so she kind of ends up just like hanging on both with her hands and feet in both sections. And Dad's sermon was really cool because he said that what we do as Christians is that's something we can try to do, and particularly as young Christians, and he spent a lot of time.
Yeah, he talked about being peacemakers because it's part of the Beatitudes where it says, "Blessed are the peacemakers."
Yeah.
And he spoke about to be a peacemaker in the world, you first have to be at peace with God.
Yes,
which often means you need to make a choice.
Yeah.
Between the two things.
So
because the next step is be countercultural.
Yes.
And as you attempt to be countercultural, you're going to have to. You can't be in one or the in both. You can't be Bev hung between the two, the dock and the boat,
because you end up. That can lead to
you can just fall in, and it cannot be great.
Destruction. Really, she wasn't destroyed. We should make that.
Yeah. She got a bit wet. She was fine.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really helpful analogy, and particularly for like, I don't know, you spend high school with, I don't know about you, but I spent high school surrounded by non-Christians, and it was constantly like, that's the battle, right?
Yeah.
So sorry, yes, I just wanted to interrupt. So like, you can also, Joel will put a link in the description for that sermon. 'cause
Absolutely.
it will be in the thing. Thank you, Joel.
Yeah, so I think my ladies of high school definitely felt like that. I was sort of clinging onto both because I wanted to be with my friends and like everything they did, so I didn't want to feel left out or anything. But then I also wanted to cling to my Christian values, which I knew so well because that's what I was surrounded by at church and in my family. So I knew that I was like faced with these two. And yeah, I think that every time that I would try and shift towards my friends and towards the world, I wouldn't feel at peace, and I'd definitely feel that in me.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, and I think that as I kept on having to make those choices and I kept on feeling it become harder and harder to choose, do I stick with my family's Christian morals or do I stick with the world's? And I was like, well, why don't I like have mine? So it was sort of making a decision that this is, this countercultural life. Yes, it's hard, and yes, not everyone's going to want to come along with you on it.
Or enjoy it.
Yes. And a lot of people see it as it's like a bad option too. That's like, why would you choose to live that way? But yeah, making the choice to live that different life, came a lot in later high school when I was, really challenged with, do I want to follow the world? Or do I want to follow this stuff? And then when I really decided that, this is what I wanted to hold on to, because I'd seen so many times me trying to hold on to both and sort of just falling into the middle.
Fully.
Yeah, I realised that, this is the one that I want to hold on to. And I think that as I sort of grew in my faith and knew that Jesus is who I want to cling on to and who I want as my rock, there was so much more peace in that than I could ever find in the world. And that was, to me, pretty life-changing for me. So.
Did you, like, talking about Stu's sermon, did you think you felt more at peace once you really felt like you had made the real decision?
Yeah, absolutely. I think seeing all of this knowledge that I had from when I was so little, just like at church leading up to there, and then finally having that relationship where with this person that I knew so much about, that just made such a difference. So then when you come to church and you learn more, and you hear people like share things like their testimonies, or like you're like singing in church. It's such a different thing. Like when I was little, I really hated singing in church. And my parents would be like, Bethany, sing. I'm like, no. Because I guess to me as a kid, like when we'd like sing songs in church, it was like Christian karaoke. It meant nothing to me. I was just like, I was just sort of sitting there going like, I don't want to sing.
I suppose like the words are up there.
Yeah.
And you're like,
it's easy to.
Yeah, it's like my dad on the guitar, and I was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, right.
So to me, it was something that I didn't want to partake in. It's not something that I valued, because I didn't have that relationship. I had all this knowledge, but I had no relationship. So there was no desire to worship, or there was no desire to sing these songs or partake in them. I think that's been something that's really been evident as I've become a Christian. Once I really became a Christian, took on the relationship side of faith, sort of just abandoned being really arrogant in the fact that Christianity was all this knowledge and understanding and having the answers. It's really not. That was a big thing for me. Now I love singing in church, and I I have a great time with that.
Can I ask you that when making that decision, you said like in high school, were there certain things in your life that helped you make that decision? Was there someone like being supportive, or like helping you realize that was the case, and like God was working through them to help you
or something
make
you
that
read?
decision? Yeah, something you read.
So the chaplains at my school are always so beautiful. They're so lovely. The whole Christian Studies department, they're just so lovely. They're just lovely Christian women. And just sort of the way that they go about Christian lunchtime groups and having a real like friendship with you, where they're really open about their faith and really care about you. That was something that made me want to be in this Christian community, because I could just see the love coming out of them. Also just older, I think going through high school and having older Christian role models, because you have a lot of ministers' kids and stuff at school. And my sister had a whole friend group of Christians, like 11 of them. That was just like seeing them all like in a big Christian friend group, just love each other and have Jesus at the center of that friendship, was just such a big thing for me. And I was like, that's something that I really want, and something that I really value in my life. And having friendships like that and making that a real priority is something that I want to, I want to have. So
like them, the women in the Christian Studies group, is that right? Christian Studies?
Yeah, Christian
Sorry,
Studies
I
department.
couldn't remember what you said. Them being real with you because of their faith.
Yeah.
meant that you wanted to make the choice to be real with your faith too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I just think seeing so many Christian role models and just the way that they live their lives and just like the way that they love people and the way that they serve people, and it's the way that they even just talk about people. Yeah, that's been something that I've just wanted to be like, and the reason that they're like that is because of Jesus, and that's flowing out of their hearts, and that's something that I wanted, to come out of mine. So,
how does that work? You said you go to a Christian school, but you said, your sister went to the same school, right?
Yep.
And had a group of only 11 Christians. But from the outside, someone might say, well, if it's a Christian school, everyone's Christian. Is that true, or is it? There's obviously a Christian influence, but they may or may not have the relationship that you're talking about with God.
So I'd say people definitely wouldn't say that everyone there's a Christian. I think that it's a school rooted in Christian values, and Jesus is a real priority in the schools, just in everything about the school. It's something that's in, we have chapel each week, which I'm pretty involved in now, and we've got Christian studies all the way through to year 12, and we all do SOR. So religion's a very important thing, and a lot of people choose my school because of its values and its Christian influence in that. But definitely not everyone's a Christian. It's definitely a minority in each grade of the Christian girls, but there's so many beautiful relationships between the Christian girls sort of in each grade level, because we all do come together for lunchtime groups and Bible studies together and camps together, and that's such an encouragement because we're all doing it together. We're all in the minority together. We're all the ones singing in chapel together.
That's something that when Aurelia was on the podcast, which was like
Long time ago now.
Long time ago. I think that would be the end of 2021. She did it. She told us about her experience like doing HSC and stuff like that. But she was saying that there was a real nice connection between all the years at her school, which was a public school, of the Christian group, and having a real solid relationship with those people. And you see them in the playground or whatever. The playground? Can you call it a playground at high school?
I think
it's a
ground.
It's an area. It's a quad.
the
quadrangle.
Yes.
So
all the quadrangle. Okay.
So odd they call it a quadrangle still.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, but it's cool that you have that
shape.
That's what I'm saying. Because even like at my school,
quadrilateral, 4 sides.
No, what's a quadrangle? That's not a real shape. Why do we call quads quadrangles? Sorry, no. Don't. This is just what's happening in my brain. I don't want to pull away from this too much.
It's fine.
It's a good conversation.
It says, and it's a quadrilateral. It's a rectangular area surrounded on all 4 sides by buildings. That's why.
Ding, ding, ding.
There you are.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go.
Quadrangle. So it's a bit odd, isn't it?
Do you have a trapezoidal shaped like quad? So like it's like. Do you like feel what it?
Hang on. What does that mean?
That's probably not structurally sound. That's probably a very bad idea.
A trapezoidal shaped
like
building.
A trapezium.
Yeah.
Like that size quad.
Trapezium is like the 4-sided, but shorter on top and longer on the bottom side.
Yeah.
So trapezium shaped building. Which way though?
Like for your quad, like you had that vibe.
So you're like
Isn't
looking
that what
down
they're
on
all
it.
like?
Yeah.
Aren't they all rectangles?
Normally they're squares.
Oh, so the one at the school I went to is a rectangle.
But she's talking about a trapezium.
I don't know what a trapezium is.
Okay, I'll find a trapezium
we'll get
for you. But if you're looking down on it, Beth, you're saying that it's a trapezium looking down.
Yeah. That probably wouldn't be good for like all the corners not being at right angles for like.
I don't think you'd fit.
Maximization of classrooms.
Yeah. I don't think you'd fit very well into the corners of the buildings.
Is a trapezium a type of triangle?
No, it's that.
Oh.
See, it's still a 4-sided shape.
But it's not.
This one is shorter than the bottom one.
Yeah. I think it'd be a drainage issue.
A drainage issue?
Well, depending on how you build it on the slope. But one of the really good things about the thing is that it pulls up.
I think he's thinking
properly.
if it's like that way
thinking
up.
No. If it's down like that, it'll. Anyway.
So she's saying that the quad would be like this shape if you were looking down on it.
Oh.
See,
you definitely have a drainage issue if you had it your way.
We're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you talking about?
But like the buildings, as you're saying, well, actually, if you're looking down on it, that means the buildings would be on the outside of it, so they wouldn't have a tight angle. They'd have an open angle. So that
I think.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
But they would need to have that closed angle there to box it off.
I think maths is just a bad idea. Just all round.
Oh, come on, bro. I don't even like maths, and I'm hanging loose
you
on these
math.
on these 2D shapes.
I can't 2D shape, eh?
All right, ask a question of Beth.
Bethany, okay, so I'm too into trapeze. I'm just
love shapes.
I'm just seeing shapes. Give me a chicken crimpy. That's all I need.
Chicken crimpy?
Yeah, it's the best shape.
Are you talking about a motive?
How do you even name that shape?
I don't know, but it's the food.
It's an
and
oval with a lot of hemispheres coming off it, right?
Yes, but it's a chicken crimpy and it's the best shape.
Now I don't know.
In saying that, hexagons are the bestagons. It's a good video. Look it up, CPG Grey. Okay. Question is... Yeah, my question is, when you have become a Christian...
Yep.
Or more solidly gone, no, this is what I want for my life. This is how I want to figure this out. We've been doing a lot of chatting about, we chatted about the people in your life. That was really cool. But we did a lot of chatting about, I've chatted to you about books and stuff. Like, you've been doing a lot of reading and a lot of thinking and a lot of listening. Is there anything in particular that's been really helpful for you?
So, I love reading, but not reading fiction personally. I don't know. I just think it's too confusing, too many things to... if it's out of my world, that's a bit too much.
I'm with you there on that.
Manage.
Yeah, that's why I struggle with fantasy. I know Ethan really loves fantasy, but that's why I struggle with fantasy.
I love
I'm the opposite end of the
I love National Geographic. I can keep up with that. Why? Because I can see it and it's in my world, you know?
Well, my favourite fiction, for example, is spy novels. So that's kind of still real world
based on
related.
Still on Earth.
Yes, and there's not random animals, for example,
talk.
and magical beasts and yeah.
And
Anyway.
I think each their own on that. But it's a really cool thing. I wish I could read more actual things that help my brain.
You're a non-fiction.
Yeah,
Prefer
definitely.
non-fiction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wish I could read more non-fiction. My brain just doesn't like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yes, no, non-fiction. So, LIT, where we had to write a talk.
Yes, LIT is a YouthWorks leadership and training camp.
Yes. Well, the night before I had to give my talk, I was like, I want this talk to be phenomenal. So
Love that attitude.
Well, I think I'd spent so much time on it already. I was like, if this is a flop, then I'd be really disappointed in myself. So I spent the entire night, I was just sitting there just reading sermons. I was like, oh, what does this theologian have to say? Oh, this is very interesting. And I thought that was a really interesting thing to follow along, and I learned a lot from that. And I think that sort of academic view on it, it worked with my head a lot.
Yeah, awesome.
And I really enjoyed that. And I learned a lot from all that reading that I did that entire night. I probably read for a good 8 hours. I didn't sleep, but it was. But I learned a lot from them, and I think, every time that I do sort of have questions, or I get really challenged, I think, going back to reading what these guys, the theologians and really cool Bible guys have to say, is generally a really valuable thing. And I think that I've learned a lot through that. So, books. So in them I'd probably say first quarter of Me Christianity. That's a great book.
Absolute quality. Absolute quality.
It's so well written. I really like the way they write.
It's not written. It's
spoken.
It's
written down.
It's a radio.
Yeah, but he did it
podcast.
as radio.
Sure.
Not podcast. They didn't have podcasts.
I know. I realized when I said it, I was like,
radio excerpts.
I very briefly
Radio
read the
excerpts.
introduction,
Yeah.
and that came up from there.
Yeah, it's very cool.
But the Prodigal God, Tim Keller, that was awesome. That gave me, I learned a lot from that book. I think just looking how he focuses on the second son that stays home and his reaction to when that brother that runs away and comes back.
Oh, this is the prodigal son story?
Yeah.
Yes.
So his focus on that second brother as well. That was a very different perspective that I hadn't really thought about on that parable, and he dug so deep into it. Every sort of phrase in that parable, he dug really deep into, and I think that. So he has a chapter in it called redefining sin, and it's just very eye opening, looking at sort of what sin sort of encapsulates, and just how many ways we can.
How much it's around us.
Yeah.
Well, God says the world is cursed by sin, right?
Yeah. So that was really eye-opening, very interesting for me to read.
It's really cool.
Did this help when you were looking at non-fiction stuff, whether you're watching National Geographic or reading and stuff? Does that bring up questions about Christianity? And then when you read the Bible guys, as you call them, Would you consider Ethan a cool Bible guy? Because I wouldn't be being known as that. Does that help you kind of answer the questions when you're going back to reading the stuff by the theologians?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
what are you laughing at?
The concept of me being described as a cool Bible guy. I'm
I think
sorry,
you're
I
a
was
cool
just-
Bible guy.
Pardon?
I think you are a cool Bible guy.
Thank you.
Yeah, I consider you one of them. Yeah.
You are a cool Bible guy.
Hi, I'm Ethan. I'm a cool Bible guy.
Cool Bible guy.
Fire effects.
Yeah. When you come up to do a sermon. Welcome.
Oh, smoke machine on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sorry, Beth.
Sorry. I was going to say, is there anything in the National Geographic stuff that is, for lack of a better word, actually helpful for your faith?
I think it's really interesting to look at people who experience things that I would never ever experience, because there's a big focus on the environment and all these beautiful animals and plants and looking at that, and also the destruction that we cause to that, and that's a big thing in it. But then also people with these life experiences that I would never experience, like people living in the ruins of wars in the Middle East. Just the photography in it as well. That's just by these so personal, report sort of on it. You're seeing people, these reporters are just interacting with these people who are just giving the most personal and real stories about living in this mess.
They risk a lot to get those stories too, don't they?
Yeah. So when you hear about these people who are just so distraught and in so much pain and living in such a condition that you would never, ever, ever be in, it's just thinking about the way that Jesus could just bring so much joy and hope to them, sort of in those situations that they're in.
Yeah, fully.
Yeah.
What? Do you read Nat Geo?
Yeah, I do.
Hear me trying to be cool. No. So you read it. You have a subscription.
So I got a subscription for Christmas. So I'm and it takes 11 weeks for them to start sending you one out.
Yeah,
so
it's
I'm
crazy.
still waiting for one to come.
From the subscription, the subscription
I'm waiting
paid
for one so I'm waiting for one to be sent to my house. But the school library's got a
big stack.
stupid amount, and they get it every single month, and I'm the one person that borrows it. So I borrow it I borrowed it every single month last year. I was a diehard reader. But then when they were doing, what's it called when they scan everything in the library and they're just check out what's there?
Yeah, checking it out.
Stock take of the library.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
what the
yeah,
proper
yeah.
word is. My mum's a librarian, that's probably very bad. Anyway.
Yep. It's not bad.
but-
It's just you just don't know. It's okay.
Yes. So they came across the copious amount of National Geographic magazines they had, and then the library lady was like, "Hey, do you want some National Geographic magazines to take home?" I was like,
Oh,
yes.
Hello. Well, we're getting rid
So
of
I
these.
got to go through a stash and I got to choose some that I wanted to take home.
Amazing.
What's the one that sticks out in your mind, your favorite story?
Favorite Nat Geo.
Ooh.
Let's just keep saying Nat Geo.
Nat Geo. It's actually what the podcast episode is called. Favorite Nat Geo. That's all we're talking about.
It should be Fav Nat Geo. So what is your fav?
I don't know.
Tell me one that you're thinking of right now, though.
There's a really cool, it's about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And it was these archaeologists had taken everything they knew about these dinosaurs and they made these, they were honestly sort of terrifying, images of them. And it was just the most random ones that you'd never ever seen before. They were not your classic T-Rex. These were some odd looking bird things. And I was like, oh, this is mad.
What is this?
I love dinosaurs. It's so cool.
I love dinosaurs
They're
too.
so cool. Anyway.
But no, not your dinosaur train kind of dinosaurs. These were just wacky, weird dinosaurs that they'd found in the midst of nowhere. And they just brought
you
colour
say
and
not-
life to them.
Did you say not dinosaur train?
Yeah, not dinosaur. No, not dinosaur train.
I thought you meant the show Dinosaur Train.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
thought you were saying. Yeah, that's just bad animation, but
They're very simplified dinosaurs. These
Yes.
ones had a lot of personality and jazz to them, which Dinosaur Train really misses. I don't think it'd be a kid show if they looked like what
properly.
they do.
well, if it was
Anyway.
educational,
Yeah.
right? So dinosaurs are really important. I feel like you're really invested or interested in the natural world. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely.
Why?
I love people watching too.
Okay.
I don't know. I just think that God spent eternity on creation, so he made it really good. And I'm
Yeah.
very impressed with his job. And I enjoy admiring it. I think through Duke of Ed and stuff, I've seen so many odd parts of Australia that I'd never end up in on my own. And you're just walking for kilometres straight. So you
So Duke of Edinburgh, that's Duke of Edinburgh,
yes.
isn't it? If for those uninitiated or unknown,
Yes.
what does that mean you have to do?
It's like a big award, and you do like service, you do a skill, and you do a sport, but then you also do like hikes and fun stuff to like complete each stage of it. So the hike parts is my personal favourite. But so yeah, you go out in a big group of kids, and you have like 30 kilograms in your back, hiking boots in your feet, and you just sort of walk on a line and navigate yourself through some terrifying terrain. You normally
have to do it yourself, do you?
You got people making sure that you don't get too lost.
Yeah.
But you cook for yourself. You start fires.
Start fires.
Set up tents in really random areas. It's so fun. Yeah. So I think in that, we went to the Northern Territory for my gold hike.
Wow.
And that was just beautiful. It's nothing like anything you'll see here in New South Wales. It's so beautiful, and everything's so big as well. I think just looking at how big things are, how old things are, and just the way that people, used to live there, and there's signs of like their life there as well. I don't know. It's just so cool to me.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I think it's always interesting that I think the beach is like this for me, but like it really makes you realize how is it powerful, or I'm just trying to think what I actually see in that. But just like I think talking about peace, I think being at the beach on my own and just going, oh, God made this, just is really peaceful for me, for example.
Yeah.
Is that something kind of what you're saying too? But it's more in not just the beach, it's plenty of other areas of Australia, for example.
Yeah, I think it's just everywhere. I just love looking at it and like the intricacy of it, and just like all the fine details. Like,
yeah, it is
God
right.
thought this through, and he did a nice job.
I feel
I'm
like
impressed.
you should be a botanist.
A botanist.
Yes, like who's the guy that came with Captain Cook? Joseph Banks. Yeah, he drew the Banksia.
He did.
Yeah, have you ever seen some of his drawings? They're pretty wild that he can just, because they couldn't take photos back then. They just would draw them.
Amazing drawings.
What's the history museum called in like the city? What's that one called? Like the Australian Museum?
Yeah, there's the Australian Museum, and then there's the art gallery. Sorry, so that's art, obviously, and then I think it's Australian Museum.
Well, there's like a big section, and it's like the early explorers, and they've got like little matchboxes and like little like food scrap containers, and they've put like little eggs and little plants that they've collected. That's my favourite spot because I spent a really long time there.
It's very cool.
That's the one with the big dinosaur bones in it, I think. Yep.
Ding, ding, ding.
Very cool. Something else I wanted to ask you about school, though, Beth, is because we've had a couple of chats about this. Is that did you start what do you call it? Like a YouTube show, or is it a broadcast?
I wouldn't really call it a YouTube show. It's a segment in chapel, but it's a morning show segment.
Okay, so it's in chapel, but it's like morning show vibes.
So like on the couch kind of situation?
Yeah, so it gets dragged on. We got a couch, we got a centre table.
Yep. Do you laugh at everything the guest says, like they do on morning TV? We're so light and airy to start your morning. No? Because they're not funny.
I have a bit of a laugh, but
Anyway.
Depends on the mood.
And what's the name of the
vibe of the guest?
She's called Brekky with Beth.
Awesome.
It's super fun. Full production. We got lights. We got sound.
Do you have like canned laughter and stuff?
I was actually thinking of doing it because I try to crack some personal jokes and no one laughs. And I'm like, oh.
You definitely should just have a little
I was really
like,
considering
box of your
that.
own, just to be like,
Yeah. No. So yeah.
What was the purpose behind that, and how did you get it approved?
Okay, well, so my prefect role is the Christian leadership prefect. So the girl before me, when the role got introduced, she had a segment too where people would come up from the school community and they give their testimony and like give their journey to Jesus, is what hers was called. So she'd have that each week. So she'd come up and do that. And that was awesome. And then I got it, and I'm a bit more of a chaotic person. The girl before me was just so sweet and lovely. I love it a bit.
Did you advocate for yourself to get this role?
No, not really. Most people advocated for me. Like
very nice.
Yeah, I just sort of went into the prefect interview, and people were like, who do you think should be the Christian leadership prefect? And people were like, yeah, Bethany. I was like, oh, yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, I went through that in my sort of interview. I said, yeah, I wouldn't mind being the Christian leadership prefect. I think they'd be mad, yeah. And then I got it, and now I'm very content that I got it. I'm quite happy that I got it. I enjoy it very much. So the Christian leadership prefect gets a little segment in chapel, and I went to Joel because I knew that he'd help me name it. So that's how we came with Brekky with Beth.
Is that really what happened?
Yeah.
You didn't name it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
exciting.
didn't know.
But you
Did I
helped.
name it? You said I
Yeah.
gave you unhelpful names.
Yeah,
They were
but
probably
then
a
you
bit too
affirmed that
rude.
Brekky with Beth would have been great.
Yeah.
So that's how we sort of landed on it.
That's awesome.
Well,
Yeah, it just helps not what to think. Like what not to think, sorry.
Yeah, that's
so
what
like
I
to
was
like
doing,
bring
I
it back
think.
to
But
the proper idea,
Yeah,
the
the
best idea.
whole idea and sort of format for it came with Joel. He was very inspirational when it came to that. He was very,
What a
very
man.
encouraging.
What a man.
So yeah.
I did say do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that.
So what happens on it is every week I have either a student or a teacher or someone that I know. I bring him on. You get a different theme song each week, so it keeps everyone on their
Oh,
keeps
that's
everyone on their
cool.
toes. It's
How do
super
you-
fun.
How do you decide on that?
I normally spend like half an hour on it,
Yeah, that's what I thought you
like
might
the
do.
night before.
Yeah.
It needs to have an outstanding intro and not have like lyrics coming in until like the good like 22-second line. I give like a really long and
Is this how you come up on stage?
well,
Is
so
that
how
why?
I'll get to
Yeah.
I'll get to how it looks.
Yep.
But yeah, so I give a really like serious outline to the AV guy, and I normally make my sister go in the box or one of my friends Charlotte go in there, and they light him while he does sounds. So it's like, yeah, so it all gets done to like,
Yep.
yeah, well, so I bring someone on and I'll chat to them about whatever. So not necessarily their testimony. So it could be about a challenge that they had in their life and how faith helped them overcome it. When we went to the Citizens concert, my sister and one of my friends that came on, we had a chat about worship and what that means to them, and about the privilege that it is to be able to have, to be able to sing at chapel, and also talking about different Christian songs that we all loved, and yeah, that we either sing at chapel or that we'd love to see there. So yeah, it's that's what happens. So we talk about anything and everything Jesus related, but yeah, it's showing teenagers that Christians are just like them, but their life is changed by Jesus, and yeah.
It's kind of what we're doing on this podcast.
kind of.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
I think so.
Thank you for coming on Brekky with Ethan and Joel.
Yeah, that's actually what this episode will be titled.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
B, E, and J. Breakfast with Ethan and Joel.
Perfect.
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 Change the name.
It's not called Chip Lodge anymore.
Yep, perfect. Thank you, Beth, for inspiring us.
Goodbye. Let's go.
And what's the reaction been like
Yeah.
that for you doing it?
A lot of people know my name and I don't know their name. So that's been something that's come out
So
of it.
you're famous.
Everyone
You're
knows
famous.
Beth.
Yeah, that's the definition of famous.
Bit of a stretch. But I think that a lot of people have, I think, coming onto it and being in front of the whole of high school and being like, yeah, I'm a Christian. This is what I believe. This is what the joy of Jesus has led me to do in my life. And yeah, he's my savior. He's my king. And this is something that's really important to me. I want to come up here in front of all of my friends, in front of all of my teachers and share, how that's changed my life. So I think it's been an opportunity for a lot of people to really share their faith publicly and push them. Even for some teachers as well. Like it's been an opportunity for them to get up there and push themselves out of their comfort zone. And talk about their faith.
What skills has it taught you?
Definitely public speaking. So I love to talk. I love to ramble about things that I love and very interested in. But it's never been like a structured and ordered and like confident thing in front of like a crowd. So
It's a different thing, eh?
Oh yeah,
is,
it's
yeah.
absolutely terrifying. There's so many people and they're all looking your way. So I sounded like I was going to cry for the first like few times that I was doing things in chapel before I sort of got Brekky with Beth all under control. So I think I was just terrified to be up there. Like I'm being vulnerable. Like I'm talking about Jesus in a crowd where most people don't love him.
Yeah.
And then, it's like all the spotlight's on me. Like that's scary. So I think I've definitely built up my skills in public speaking and confidence and talking about my faith and that Jesus is a priority in my life, and it's something that I'm going to keep on doing each week. I'm going to keep showing up, doing my segment, talking about Jesus and with other Christians. Like being really unashamed of the gospel is something that it's really pushed me to be. So it's not something in my life that I hide at all, because it's something that the whole school hears about every single week.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. that's a priority for me, and that's something I'm going to keep sharing with you, whether you like it or not.
No, but it's cool though that I think you, like, for those kind of things, you have to do it. Like anything, like you have to practice something, which means you have to actually keep doing it.
Yeah.
But when you do it in front of a number of people, like it'd be hundreds of people for you, it takes it to another level, because it's not like you're not just practicing in your room, you're practicing in front of a number of people. And like, you know, I've done things up the front of different things, and it does take time to get used to it.
Yeah.
And you get like, the more you do it and the more frequently you do it, you get better at it and not being so nervous about it and all that kind of thing. Because you're like, actually those people out there just want you to do a reasonable job and not be boring and not make a ton of mistakes and be super awkward, but just be like, get them through it. They're like, we know we have to listen to you, so how about you just get us through it without too much of a hassle, really. But then if you take it to another level and go make it entertaining and fun, then you're actually really doing something that, I know, could be blessing people, especially in what you're doing, or you could be just making something, well, that wasn't as boring as I thought it would be, like if it's at a chapel or assembly or whatever it is. So like, kudos to you for getting up there and doing it, like, especially when everyone just told you that you basically had to do it.
But I love doing it each week.
See, that's the thing. Now that you love doing it, now you're just going to want to keep doing things like that, which is cool.
And a lot of cool things have come out of it as well. So I had I had a afternoon breakfast where it said, finally a Brekky with Beth. So I gave people, I had a big, I cooked a bunch of waffles with my friend and a freak. Well, we bought them, we just heated them up. But like a massive amount of waffles, and cut up all these strawberries and like choc chips and Nutella, and we had juice. And so we had all these people coming through getting waffle, but then we had all these mind maps saying like, who do you want to see on Brekky with Beth? What do you want our Christian lunchtime groups to look like? What songs do you want to sing? What questions do you have about Christianity? Like, what do you want us to look at? Yeah. And so I had a bunch of people swarming for free food, but then also just giving their perspective on...
unsolicited opinion.
Yeah. And I was just sitting there chatting to people, and they were just like, they were asking anything from like, why is Christianity relevant? To like, hey, can Delta Goodrum come on? I was like, yeah, I'll get onto that one.
Give her a call. Give her a ring. Well, you're famous, so you must know other famous
connections. Yeah. So and a lot of people as well, I guess also in the prefect role, a lot of people see me as this very open person who's very open to talk about Jesus, be very real about faith, all the ins and outs of it. I've had a lot of opportunities to sort of sit and chat to people about what I believe and why I believe that. And how Jesus has changed my life, and that it's something that isn't to me. Being countercultural is something that sets you apart from people, and people think that that's something that's a burden on you, that you hate, that you feel excluded from the world. But like, when you are a Christian, when you really know the joy of being known and loved by God, and that you have that relationship with Him, that's something that you wouldn't trade for the world, because you've got that relationship, you have that peace that you never have if you keep following and chasing the world. So that's been really encouraging for me to have to be able to have those conversations with people, because I think that if I didn't, people knew me as a Christian because part of being like a Christian family, and like one of like three very outspoken Christians in our school. But I think being up there, people knowing that I'm so cool to talk about it, I love talking about my faith. That's made people want to have chats about it and be like, okay, this kid's pretty funny. She's okay to be embarrassed on the stage. You know, she does a lot of her own stuff. She's pretty approachable. I'm down to chat to her.
People appreciate that because you're being vulnerable on stage, and that's a hard thing to do.
I think there's something really cool about what you're doing, but not just for you, but for the people that you're bringing on, particularly the students and the teachers, actually, is that, like, no one gets this opportunity ever, really. Like, unless they go into ministry. Yeah. There's really not many settings where people get to stand up in front of a lot of people and tell people that they're a Christian. Yeah. And one of the problems is we go from school, not a problem, but an issue is we go from school into the rest of life. And there are people who have been Christians that whole time and just never tell people and never talk about it and never figure out how to tell people about it. And one of the things that really encourages me about this is that you're going to be really equipped to finish school and chat to anyone, right? But you're also working to equip others to do that.
Yeah.
And like sure, some of the teachers literally teach Christianity, and some of them do devotionals and stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But like giving them a space to be like, oh, this is what I believe, and this is why I believe it, and this is how I feel about it, is a really different thing for people. And I'm just really encouraged because I think that we live in this weird space where we don't talk about it that much. And I don't know about you. I've managed to accidentally fall into workplaces filled with Christians. Each time I've stepped into a workplace, I've gone, oh, like, cool, I'm going to be a non-Christian here. And then it's like, oh, never mind, they're all Christians. Oh, it's okay. And not necessarily, like I've been with, there have been non-Christians there, but it's just been interesting that it's been often, anyway, whatever, that my boldness is less impactful each time I've walked in.
You think that though?
I think that, sure, whatever.
But that's like the similar thing we're talking about Beth.
Sure, but what I'm trying to say is I think that we have an opportunity to be bold everywhere we go, but we don't. And often it's, oh, Ethan, you're the pastor. You be
the one that's
you be the
bold.
one to do it, right? Or it's, Bethany, you're the prefect who's in charge of this. You do it. Yeah. And I'm just really encouraged that you get to use that to help other people be bold and talk about their faith and talk about the fact that Jesus changes everything in their lives. And I think that's really encouraging, and I think that's really beautiful and a really important ministry that you've managed to conjure up. And I'm really stoked that you're able to do that and you like it. Yeah. Because I think, it's just such a testament to what you're doing. And anyway, I'm just, it excites me.
Well, we've talked about before, like, especially Braden and I, coming from a non-Christian family, not being bold enough as we regret not being more bold at school, for example. So I think
I've had heaps of conversations with people who came up in Christian families.
Yeah.
And exactly the same thing.
And that's exactly the thing, like you're actually encouraging, whether they're non-Christians or not, to do that, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
We do need to wrap up though, because the Fuse crew are coming in here to do karaoke very soon.
Yes.
So we've got to ask the final question.
Yes.
Beth, we didn't warm you up for this one, but I think it's going to be a very interesting answer. What do you, and you are only quite young, so we haven't really talked a lot about your life, but what do you know now as a Christian, though you wish you knew when you were younger?
I think that I wish I knew that it's not a competition, and really just about...
Like in knowledge, is that what you mean?
I think that's something I was like super, super concerned about, that's what faith was. It was knowing all those answers. But it's not. It's about, letting Jesus into your heart and letting him change your life. And I think just, not being a competition and not just about knowing things, but Christianity is a relationship. That's what makes it so different to all these other religions as well. It's not something where you just need to know things or where you're hoping onto that the things that you'll do will please anyone. That's not what it's about. It's about being in a relationship with your Heavenly Father that loves you and knows you. Making that my priority every week when I came to church. And I had even just the opportunity to grow up in a Christian family and come to church each week, taking that as an opportunity where it would shape me and who I am, not how much I knew. I think that would have been, something that I wanted to know. And also sing in church. It's like, have some fun.
There's also like a lot of joy in it.
Yeah.
Which you felt like because you were only just focusing on knowledge, it almost like you were missing out on some of the joy.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think I was too concerned about knowing it instead of,
feeling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is very, very cool. I've been massively encouraged.
Me too. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Huge.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Like I said, we've been looking forward to it. But also, like, just as Ethan said, you're very encouraging. But also, just it's cool that you're encouraging other people to be bold. Yes. And I've really taken that out. That's something we've taken out of this podcast. Is that that we like to talk about at Soul Revival is we do things as an all age, all stage church. You are much younger than me, but I'm learning things from you right now, and that's because you're being bold and you're showing an outward display of your faith, and more than I ever did at high school. So I appreciate that, and thank you so much for coming on, and really hopefully people that are listening or watching are encouraged just as much as I am. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone else for listening or watching, whether you choose your favorite podcast app or watch on the video. What are you doing?
He's waving at that camera.
Oh, waving at that
There's
camera.
two
Oh,
cameras.
because it's a close-up.
Yeah.
It's like, I
It's
need the
like-
close-up on my face.
On my face.
We really appreciate it. It's been cool to see that like our listenership has basically doubled on Chip Lunch in the last couple of months. So
Wow.
we would love that. It's the double up strategy
Double
of
up.
Soul
Oh.
Revival.
Communications team's
Yeah,
killing it.
That's right. Anyway, it's been awesome to have Beth on. It's been awesome to have Ethan on
very
as
cool.
usual. It's always awesome to have me on.
It is.
And I hope you've had an excellent and encouraging time along this journey with Beth and myself and Ethan. And we'll catch you next week. And we always finish with a one way.
One way.
One way.
One way.